If there's $1 million right here, I would not take it to do my own thing. Because it's more fun when you do things with a team and people that you like.
What's up, guys? Today we are here with our 100th episode of Building Wealth Podcast. And we have our special guest, Mr. Joshua De Gracia. Welcome to the show, bro.
Hey, congratulations on 100. Happy to be here.
Dude, so, I mean, like, for people who don't know, you're a part of our team. You're basically like, you're the engine that drives like our company, Sunset Capital Investments, and We Buy Houses Hawaii. And so I thought it'd be really cool to kind of go a little behind the scenes with our team, with our number one guy, and see how you went from basically being a noob investor to like the expert investor that you are today, you know?
Definitely couldn't do it without you and our team. I mean, I do a lot, but it's the team that makes everything happen. So just really happy to be here.
But I mean, like, honestly, like we'll kind of dive into the story of how we got connected. But I mean, like in the past like week, I want to say like he raised over $1 million worth of like just investors for our projects. And in this past year, you've closed what?
20 deals.
Like 20 plus deals, right, for us. And so, dude, I mean, like you just been crushing it, dude. I mean, it's kind of crazy to just kind of look back on like how far you've grown in the last few years. And I think because when we first met, right, like you knew nothing about real estate investing. You did have like a little less entrepreneurship like bent or background, but like as far as real estate investing, like it was like a blank slate, right?
It was totally. So my family was in real estate for a long time. My uncle were general contractors. My mom was a realtor. My grandma was a mortgage broker. They were doing their own things. And I was like, all right, that's cool. But in terms of my experience, had no idea about anything.
So, I mean, like going back to like the story of when we first met, I mean, so we kind of known each other for like a little while. We went to like through church and some mutual friends. And then I remember when we first met, I think I was posting some things on social media. I was like, hey, I'm into this real estate thing. And you're like, hey, that looks interesting. Like, can you tell me a little bit more? Right. And then, so we met, I think we had like a lunch at, it was like Pro Ridge.
It was Ala Moana.
Okay, Ala Moana. Yeah. And I remember, so like I have there's a lot of new investors who reach out to me and say, hey, like I'd like to learn real estate investing. This looks cool. Can you teach me, right? So I'll have a lunch or a coffee with them and say, hey, like how can I help you get started? Like we'll have like a lunch, talk about their lives and their goals. And like, here's a book to read, and then let me know after you read it, and we'll go through the next steps, right? And I say I probably met with, I want to say like over 10 people like in the same exact spot. And I'm like, hey, here's a book to read. Like read this book and then like get back to me. You're like the only guy who actually read the book and then got back to me afterwards.
You know, I tell this story to a lot of people. Basically, you changed your Instagram name from Baller Kobe 808 to Daniel Kong 808, and you started posting about real estate. And you're like, you retired from your W-2 with real estate and flipping? Like, how is that possible with it being so expensive in Hawaii? And that's when I reached out. And I remember just having that conversation. We were having spam musabis at Ala Moana. I remember it. And I was asking you, like, hey, how can I be an asset? Like, I have connections. Like, I don't want anything. Like, how can I serve? Like, how can I help you grow? And it's crazy to think that it went from that conversation to us sitting here right now having a conversation about it.
I mean, I think it kind of speaks to your character and the way that you see the world is you're always looking to give. And I think it's unselfish because like you're never looking for anything in return, but selfishly it actually really helps you to get better and to like really expand like just personally, you know. And it's kind of weird how that works, where your unselfishness kind of selfishly helps you to like just achieve like a lot more in life, you know.
I think it stems a lot from church too, and serving. My ministry, my company, No God, No Love, we used to hold these conferences, and they started with like 50 people, got up to like 500.
Okay.
And one of my goals in life was to always help people build their businesses or their ministries, and just serving and like, hey, how can I help you? And like when I started growing mine, like I didn't like asking for help because I didn't feel like I'd burdening people. Yeah. But through serving and helping, like these people want to come alongside you to make your dreams come alive. Yeah. And even right now, people
believe in the vision, right? They see kind of like what you see, and then you're kind of like giving your vision to your team, and then like they're excited about what you have in store, and they're part of something like that's very cool.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what our team is right now.
I mean, I feel like honestly, like so when I first met you, like you started No God, No Love. You had like some clothing brands. You kind of been like a entrepreneur your whole life. And so whenever I think I had to talk to another buddy, he's like, hey, there's entrepreneurs and there's people who are not entrepreneurs. And so whenever you add an entrepreneur to your team, you're only renting them because there's just a matter of time before they're going to want to do their own thing. If they're like good, right? So like if they're not good, they're going to want to stay with you forever because they're not adding a lot of value, but they're getting a lot of value back. But if they're a really good entrepreneur, they're going to add a ton of value to your team. And there's only a matter of time before like, why am I working for this dude when I can just do it myself, you know? And I've seen that over and over with like a lot of teams, like a lot of real estate investors where like they have another guy who comes on, like the one right-hand man, and he does really well. He grows a lot, and he eventually branches off and does his own thing. Sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not. It varies. But I know that like because of like your bend and your talent, that it's just a matter of time before you go off and do your own thing.
Oh my gosh. You guys have no idea how many times he's asked that. I actually kept count last year. But, you know, the thing about our team and like working with someone like yourself is like, even if someone gave me $1 million right now, like a signing bonus to go and do your own thing, I wouldn't. Like,
really?
I feel like what we have is special. Like, yeah, someone gave me a check or a stack of money for $1 million right here. Like, Josh, go do your own thing. I would not take that.
Wow. I appreciate that. That says a lot. But I mean, like, we'll dive into that a little bit more. But that's crazy that you would turn down $1 million to stay with our team. But I mean, just like the growth over the last like 2 years has been kind of insane. I think, but just like seeing how you've grown, and like if you were to ever leave, like you would have our blessing because you deserve it, you know. But at the same time, like we'd love to have you as part of the team, and I feel like as a team we can also like accomplish a lot more. A lot of times I think when I've seen other guys like leave like the team, they left like a little too early, like, you know. And so if they just stayed a little longer, I think they would have gotten like a lot more on the overall or whatever it is. But I think like just knowing that you're the talent and your skill level, like it's just a matter of time, and I'm okay with that. But then like I just like the kind of breaking down like your growth over the last like few years, and then just kind of maybe like what your kind of goals and stuff are for the future, you know.
Okay, so when I first started, basically the job description when we met at Pro Ridge was like to be Daniel Kong 2.0, and I'm like, oh no, that's really big shoes to fill. But for the first few months, basically it was being next to your side for like 10 to 12 hours a day, going, and this is before we had our team. So this is like going on every project, every meeting, even like when you had podcasting meeting, just sitting down, like taking notes and just learning and studying everything. And for me, I want to be the best I can be at something. That's I obsess over it. And so even like when I'd go home and talk to my wife about what I'm doing, I'm going online and reading and learning about real estate or learning about construction, or just finding ways I can, you know, up my game to be at your level and to be an asset, rather than be like, oh, this guy Josh is taking too long.
I mean, it's kind of like you kind of almost have to be like obsessed with it, like, you know, in order to be good at anything. And I think like you had like the drive and the hunger. You still do have this day. You become obsessed with like the craft itself. Because I remember like in the very early days, I was just like, we had like an admin, and me and you, maybe like a virtual assistant or something, and then we were running projects and things. And so we're literally together for like 10 or 12 hours a day, just like seeing like everything, like from the acquisitions to like the fundraising to like the project management, the selling, the whole shebang.
And it was great. I was like a sponge. I took everything in, even just driving you around and just hearing all your conversations and how you interacted with people, and the things that you say, the tone that you said it in, and even just picking your brain about analyzing deals, or what does this mean, or what does that mean. And it meant a lot for you to share, you know, like your thoughts and everything that you have with me. I mean, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for you with all your
you know, it's kind of just reflecting back right now. There's a lot of people who have asked to like just like be like hang around and like be like can I just like hang around and watch? But for some reason, like I didn't want, like for some reason I felt very comfortable with you, and I don't know why. Like, do you know like what is it about you think that like make you like was so comfortable?
I don't know. We like Star Wars? No. I think, you know, I think we gel really well together. For me, I'm very teachable. You know, like I want to know what I'm doing wrong. I'm patient for the most part, and I just want to learn and serve. And so when you have other people that want to, like my thought back then and my goal was just to learn and help you as much as possible. So that's my main thing. Just
to think back actually is like one of the things I think you're really good at is just executing immediately. And I think one thing that irritates me is like when I give some advice to somebody or I share something and then they either don't execute on it or they take a super long time to do so. But I think one of the things about you is like you're very quick at like getting information and then just actually executing or putting into practice and not like having any delay. And you're also, like you said, very teachable. I know there's some moments when you got like scoldings or like there's like, hey, like, why are you doing this? And I remember I was frustrated with you, right? But like, that's just part of the process. Whenever you're this close to somebody, like, you're going to have like moments. And I'm sure there's a lot of moments where you're frustrated with me too, right? But that's relationship. But I think just like you're very teachable and humble, like just demeanor. And then at the same time, also just being a very big action taker kind of contribute a lot to a lot of the success and the growth that you had over the last couple of years.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
So, I mean, so I remember we spent those long days together. Was there any like aha moments or like memories you remember here? Actually, like you learned like there was like a big information gap or something like you like, wow, I didn't realize this, during that time.
Some things within the first few months that stand out to me is Daniel, like when we drive together, you ask me questions like, hey, explain this to me. Mm-hmm. And one of the first things that you asked me about was, hey, Josh, explain to me the escrow process. And I didn't know what to say. I was stumped and I was embarrassed. I'm like, I shouldn't know this, but I don't. Mm-hmm. So I remember going and studying. We were at Barnes & Noble. He had a meeting. So I went, I looked at what the escrow process is. I drew each piece on a little piece of paper, made like a little puzzle, a little timeline. And I was like, all right, every time this guy asks me something, I'm going to find out the answer right away. Second thing that stood out in the first few months was when we went to meet Kanai at one of our Ha'ula properties. Okay. And I saw how important it is for relationships. Yeah. And when you're investing with people, because we're working with people all the time. Mm-hmm. And so not to treat people, transactionally or thanks for doing this, but to genuinely care for who they are as people, because, like you're going to cross paths again, whether it's, like, hey, Josh, I got this deal. I thought about you, or how can I help you? How can I serve you? And I'm like, wow, these are two things that I'm going to take to heart and treat everyone, whether they have experience or not, the same. Yeah. And, like, go from there.
This has been a big learning lesson, I think, just being an investor and a small business owner, is that the importance of relationships. I think a lot of times as an investor, like when I first started, especially, I'm more like an engineer brain, like just real cerebral. I'm just care about the numbers. And I wasn't really big on relationships. But I think over time, and probably like church helped to kind of like help me work on my interpersonal relational skills, like, and just being around more people. And then I think over time, what's happened is I've gotten better at the interpersonal skills, and I've seen how that like directly translates into more success in business. And now it's I feel like it's weird because my whole like job is just making friends with people now. I feel like that's like my new role in the team,
That's what we need you to do.
But it's kind of crazy because like when you're just starting, it's like you don't have the bandwidth to like make a whole lot of friends. Like you're working on like the projects or like trying to like, find deals or fundraise, and then friendships are gonna happen obviously naturally. But you can't spend like energy or focus on just building friendships. You don't have like the bandwidth because you have to spend all the money on finding deals or raising money or like closing deals or managing projects.
Right. And to add to that, I remember us growing, and even after the first 6 months, I had my clothing line, and then I decided to, hey, I prayed about it. I'm like, I'm gonna step away from my clothing line, and I'm gonna.
Because you guys were in what? Alamwan Center, we were in
Pearl Ridge, Windward Mall. Had another location in Kamakana, right? But we're really popular with the pop-ups because that's what kind of allowed us to grow. So I chose to step away from that just so that we could focus 110%, into us and growing the company, and it paid dividends. Like that focus work. Alex Hormozi is one of my favorite guys. He said one of his quotes is, "A focused fool can accomplish more than a distracted genius."
And I love that. I mean that is so true. Wait, what is it again?
A focused fool can accomplish more than a distracted genius.
That's a really good point you say, because I know so many like seriously like idiots who are like, they're not very smart, but then they're so successful in business. And I think part of the reason why is because they just focus on one thing. And so I think if you have a work ethic and a focus, you can accomplish so much more than, I know a lot of guys who are very smart, a lot smarter than myself. They've got college degrees, so they've got like a lot of like, they're just like able to like know things. But then as far as business goes, they're like very unsuccessful, probably because they're just not focused on like that one thing,
100% agree with you.
So I mean, like kind of go back into like the story. So you're learning, growing these things. We have like the escrow, learn about escrow, like spend some time. But I love the fact that you really took ownership of that. And I think a lot of guys are like, if when they're disheartened or they see like, oh, I failed this, like they kind of will sink back, right? Or like they'll feel sorry for themselves, or, oh, Daniel's such an a-hole, like why is he asking me these questions, right? But you're like, whenever I challenge you, I feel like you rise to the occasion. And it's just maybe like whatever's inside of you, that constant rising to the occasion, like over and over and over, kind of helps to make you like a better just business owner, investor, entrepreneur, or just person in general, you know?
Absolutely. I remember, some other problems we had back a few years ago, like whether it's managing contractors or property managing or little things. I look back on that now, and the much bigger problems we have now, like there's so many compared to what's going on.
But at the time, they were huge to us, right? Like,
huge.
I mean, like just trying to raise like 20 grand or something, right? Like, I mean, like literally like, we're trying to like scratch and claw our way just to like to fundraise our projects, right? Like this, every little bit counts. And then like last week you raised like over $1 million for our projects, which is crazy to like think about today. But then now like you don't even bat an eyelash, like, you know, it just goes to show like the growth that's happened over the last few years. But it's hard to like see it in the moment. Because in the moment, it's just problem, right? I mean, like how many problems do you think you solved in the last like few years? Just figuring things out.
Just a lot.
Every day, I feel like there's a problem every single day.
And I think that's one of the fun things about being, an investor and a business owner. Like every day, it's not like you're going to the office, going to your cubicle. But if you do that, awesome. Yeah. But for us, it's like we don't know what kind of problem it's going to get. Is it going to be an insurance thing or an escrow thing or a contractor thing or something on fire? It's like it's like a box of chocolates. Like you never know what you're going to get.
You kind of have to like embrace like the problems, so like, because if you just let it overwhelm you, which you can at times, then it's gonna be like very heavy. But if you kind of come with the attitude like, hey, like I know there's gonna be problems, I'm looking forward to solving them, and I believe that I can solve them, then like that's when like the real like magic happens. And
it's through leveling up through all the problems when you first started, and then through year 1, year 2, year 3. That you just like, you're leveling up like a character in a video game, so that when you get to the final boss or a harder boss, that's, that much easier because you've done and problem solved and acquired the skills to solve that problem for the next one.
Do you remember like a problem back in the day which was like really difficult or like that sticks out to you?
I remember a property that we're managing. I was managing in the North Shore. I get a call at 10:30 at night. And I'm chilling with my wife. This is still during COVID. And they're like, Josh, like I need help. The plumbing is backed up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is so far away. And my wife's like, what's going on? Like it's 10:30 at night. We're watching something on Netflix. I think it was Money Heist. She's like, what are you doing on your phone? I'm like, well, there's an issue. So I had to go on Yelp. I called through 20 different plumbers, and I'm sweating, and my wife's actually helping out now, and I'm like, oh no, they're gonna like complain and be upset, and I can't deal with that right now. So we found a plumber. They charged us a lot for the emergency fee, but it got after 2 hours of calling after midnight. A family upset at us on vacation. It got solved. That's one of the stories that stands out to me the most because my wife was involved. Everything else I can handle on my own, or we'll talk about it, or our team can talk about it.
The thing is, like during that moment, like it was, and so for some guys they're laughing like it's like, what's the big deal? It's a plumbing issue, right? So other guys were like, it's a plumbing issue, like that's a huge deal. It's just like a kind of like speaks to like where you are in like the investing journey of like, because like since then we've had like how many plumbing issues, like all it's just like par for the course, right? Yeah. Houses always have plumbing issues. That's just what it is. But like with the first time you kind of are like, especially late at night, or where it's like an emergency when like there's a family staying there or like an Airbnb or something, then like it must have been like super stressful for you at that time.
Yeah, we hit Superhost on that one place. Nice. And we had like 5 stars all across, and I'm like, selfishly, I don't want a 4-star or a 3-star. I want that 5-star Superhost status.
That's one thing about when you have an Airbnb is that there is so much pressure to maintain like your reputation. So you kind of have to bend over backwards for like your guests in order to keep that Superhost status.
Absolutely.
But I mean, like it's just like the little moments that kind of add up over time, And like looking back at it, it's you see it as like they're not significant, but you add them all together, and like that's where the significance comes. Any other big challenges you remember back in the day from just like in your journey?
There's a house that we had in Kalihi. Okay. This is probably year 1. It was probably the most, like gross house. when we closed on it. But the problem with that is that we had to raise $50,000 in less than a week.
Okay.
So that we could close on it.
Yeah.
Because we had to close fast in like 7 to 10 days.
I think that was the one we had like an offer where it was like, hey, like we can close in 60 days and here's your price. We can close in 30 days, here's your price. Or we can close in a week and here's your price. And so we let the seller choose what they wanted for like their price. But with each shorter close, they would get less for like the house. And so like the seller, they had all the different options. They knew they could get more money, but for whatever reason, speed was very important to them. So they chose a 7-day close. And then for us, okay, but we didn't have enough money to close in 7 days, so then we had to kind of like scramble for this, right?
So I remember this is the first money I ever brought in like, with the company. Okay. And I remember calling my friends, family, and I didn't know how to explain it yet. You know, I'm just like, hey guys, I need 50,000.
Which is like, no, it's like, no, I mean, like now that you raise like $1 million in a week, $50,000 doesn't seem like so much, but especially back in the day, and for like a lot of us who are just working like a W-2, for me, like $50,000, that was when I was working before real estate. That was literally my life savings. It was like $15,000 was my entire, like, I think maybe like it was 100 in my 401k. Like that was my entire life savings at that point in time. So like asking for something like that when it's like it's not like a easy or small task.
Yeah, so I remember calling through, like, I went through my friends list on my phone, maybe called through 150 people.
Really, that many?
Yeah, because we needed it badly. And I remember someone was interested. And I remember going to you and like, hey, what do I say? And then we got 100,000 from them. So we got 50 for that project and 50 for something else. So I remember that was a big problem we had to solve. And looking back, like 50,000, I mean, now, you know, I can make a phone call or a text and get that, you know, but it's funny to go back and think about the big problems back then and, you know, how things have changed.
I think I remember that house. That was one where there was dogs and cats that were living in there, right? And then we had to call the junk man inside to remove the stuff. And then when they saw the house, they're like, "Oh, heck no!" So they came back with the hazmat suits, right? To actually
they came back with the hazmat suits, and then halfway through the job, like one of their guys quit.
Really?
Yeah. I don't remember. And then I remember it was so smelly and dirty that I had to sanitize my shoes and everything, and that was the only time. And even if you're standing on the street, you can smell it because everything in there was all corroded. It looked like a haunted house. It really, really did.
Those are good times. It's kind of funny, like nowadays, because we are doing different parts of the business. We're not involved in like a lot of like the cleaning out or like this like the actual like manual labor as we were when we first started. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like fun to look back and like remember like those times when at the time it was like very like gross but it makes like good memories.
Oh, absolutely. And then we finally sold that house or put it on the market. I remember we had one open house. We had 4 offers for that and we got over asking. So I remember looking at the before and after and I'm like, wow, look what we're able to do. We're able to take something, help someone in need with their cash and with their property, turn it into a beautiful house and then give it to a local family. What a great thing.
Part of, like, I think one of the funnest things about our business is being able to take something that's like old and dilapidated that nobody wants to live in or touch, make it basically brand new, and then put it where a new family can move in and they feel like comfortable and happy to live there. I think before when I was like doing Instagram by myself and I used to do a lot of like the before and after photos or videos, I think that was a big hit. But also for me, just looking at like my before and afters, like wow, like it's so cool to see the before and after like right next to each other.
That's so true. I remember one of your posts that went viral with the Vaseline. Yeah, it was like a dirty, gross bathroom, and then you throw the Vaseline and you do your little thumb thing, and it's brand new. Like it's always great to see those, even to this day. In fact, it's been a while since we did one, huh?
Yeah, I think we gotta do one on the game.
Gotta bring that back.
But I mean, it's just like thinking about it now. I feel like it's a good analogy for like us as investors, right? Because you look at us when we first started, we were like so like low on as far as like the skill level and like the talent and like the knowledge and resources, and then now where we are now is like a night and day transformation. So if you kind of do like a snap for like Instagram, like where we were in 2000 whatever into like today, like it would be like a huge difference.
Oh, I like that. I think even like the time I had before, there's a big difference night and day right now. I remember before, you know, I could meet up with people, talk story, compared to now. I mean, my schedule, I have something for the next like 6 weeks on my schedule. And I'm like, hey, Josh, can we hang out or can we have a call? And I'm like, I got 10 minutes. And not to be arrogant, it's just, how busy and, like how fruitful, our business has become and what we're doing.
You know what I mean? Like before in the back in the day, especially with like being a W-2 worker or like having like just like a different life, there is so much like free time to kind of like do whatever you want throughout the day. And then so like when I reached out to like investors in the very beginning and they didn't have time for me, I'm like, what an a-hole, like, these guys. And so like I didn't want to be that when I became like more quote unquote successful. But the truth of the matter is that it's very hard to prioritize time. And so like you only have a limited amount of time every single day. Some of it is going to go towards like, let's say sleeping, towards working out, towards your family, your wife, your spouse, your kids, whatever. And then some of it is going to go to business or relationships. And you have to be very strategic on where you spend that time. And I think a lot of times in the very beginning, you have so much time so that you can just have lunch or like hang out with whoever. But as you become more successful, now your time is more spent on the things that are driving your business or your life the most forward. And sadly, like that means like now you have to actually cut or say no to like people who normally would you have like a lot of time for them.
No, absolutely. People ask me, how do I balance my life? I don't. My life is so imbalanced. Sometimes working 6 to 7 days a week, but like I know what we're building right now. It's for the future. Mm-hmm. And my wife is the ultimate MVP. Like she knows what we're trying to accomplish, and she knows my schedule. But yeah, you're right. It's important to cut out family time. So even let's say I work on the weekends, I'll take half day or take my family to the beach or to the zoo or to Sea Life Park or take them shopping in the morning and then schedule my meetings in the afternoon, because family is something you definitely can't neglect.
You know what I mean? And that's the one thing I think is a lot of people will neglect is like spending or making intentional time with your family. And to be honest with you, like our wives are the true MVPs. Like a lot of times, like they don't get any credit. There's no recognition for whatever they do. Like they're working like their butts off, the same as we are. But there's no like accolades. And for us, like we get to see the result. We're like, okay, we made money, or we get to speak on a podcast or stages. There's different things where we kind of get attention or quote unquote rewards, right? But then for our wives, they're working just as hard as us, but then like they don't get any like the actual like rewards that we get to experience. So I like honestly, like they're the true MVPs. Like we wouldn't be able to do what we do without like their support and like their encouragement and their love at the same time.
Absolutely. I just want to shout out the stay-at-home moms. Hardest job in the world. I mean, like really high stressful jobs. You got like air traffic controller, like people in law enforcement, people in ministry, but stay-at-home moms. I mean, they're working all the time. Like I could do this all day. If I had to be a stay-at-home dad, like 0% chance we'd be successful.
It's funny. I had a buddy who's like a stay-at-home dad. I'm like, dude, like that's the easiest job in the world. All you do is just like watch Netflix and let your kid play, right? Like, but he's like, no, dude. So here's like why it's difficult is because you're always on high alert, because like you never know when your kid is gonna get into that like whatever like electric socket or whatever, you put something bad in their mouth. So you can never have a moment of just relaxation. Like you can never like lift off that burden. So you're basically like high alert for the entire like 16 hours that you're awake, or 20 depending on if your kid sleeps or not. So like it's not so much like the actual task of like cleaning or whatever. It's just the fact that you always have to be a high alert and always vigilant on your kids. So like he said, that's the part where it's like really mentally and physically taxing, because it's not just I can just watch a thing, unless like maybe you keep your kid in a cage or something. Or I don't know, like whatever, how you can like parent your kids, like, So, but then kind of going back to like the your entrepreneurship journey. So over the last few years, there's been like a ton of like just like growing moments, I think, as a company and as a team. Like, what would you say like has helped our team to grow as much as we have?
Okay, so a few things come to mind. Number one, I think it's having you as a leader. Daniel is very humble, everyone.
I paid him for this guy.
Yeah. So Daniel don't take any credit, but it's you at top. Like it's your vision. Mm-hmm. It's how you interact with everyone. It's everyone seeing you as a person, and we're all on board with your vision and what we want to do. Like, we'll execute the heck out of it. Mm-hmm. But I think that's a big thing as well. I think another thing too has been like, coaching and, working with other investors like mm-hmm. Ryan Panetta, and just going to WealthCon and hearing people's stories and, like what their vision is, and seeing how we can take tidbits from or teachings or learning lessons from other entrepreneurs, other investors, and bring that into our company. I mean, we've done so many things, like so many SOPs and KPIs and like workbooks, playbooks. Yeah. And I think that's, even though we've taken some and chopped some off, it really helped us be more efficient in different areas for sure.
As a team, you have to always constantly be growing, right? I think like once you kind of stagnate, that's when like you constantly, or maybe like go on a decline. So we're always trying to get better. I think like so we create like SOPs, KPIs, and a lot of times we try them out and like we put all this time and energy. I remember we made like these SOP booklets, like put a ton of time and energy from the team to build these things, and then ended up not really using them. And so like I think there's so many like experiments that we're making where along the journey where you're trying things out and you're putting time, energy, and focus to things, but half of them are actually turn out to like zero. And so it's kind of like you gotta kind of pick and choose where are you gonna like make your bets and what are you gonna actually like put your focus on, and where it's like, hey, it's not even worth like the time to like spend on, you know.
But like even the ones that were a waste of time, we took parts, and that's what helped with our dashboards and a lot of the organization we have today.
I mean, it's like a slow and steady growth, but it's like slow and steady painful growth, I feel like. Because like all the time, like there's so many mistakes you're making, but then the end result is like these little incremental, like tiny, like a quarter point here, quarter point there, to now you have like 100 points, but it's always like such small amounts that you're trying to make to get to like where you are today. I mean, so just like, were there any kind of like parts of the team that you would say are the team growth that really impacted you maybe personally?
I think it's watching people just get to higher levels. Mm-hmm. So the cool thing about it is like, how you tell me, oh, Josh, I see your growth and everything. I'm like, whatever. But, I can see that in other members of our team. Like, for example, Rose was always great when she started, but now she's managing so many projects and like just watching her execute on so many levels. And I'm like, we're like, Rose, you're killing it. And she's like, nah, I'm just trying. But, it's like, that's incredible. Mm-hmm. Or we hired Kristen to help with our fund in December. And now, like last week, she raised, like 400 to 500 by herself. She's getting, emails and paperwork out in like 10, 15 minutes after I tell her to get it out. And like, she's like, oh, I think I'm getting better. And in my head, I'm like, wow, like, no, like, I don't even need to tell you to do anything anymore. I'm not going to go to any meetings. You just go on the meetings for me. So like just seeing the impact around, like people see us leveling up and like all these meetings and things that we're doing. Mm-hmm. So they're like, oh man, I gotta level up and, like get there to be on their level. So I see the harder that the top works, like the team's going to rise to the occasion on so many different levels.
And it's so powerful when you have like people who are bought into the vision and then they're really good at their portion of the pie. Cause like there's so much work that needs to get done, but then like we don't have like literally don't have like the amount of hours and like time to just do everything. So then if you have like team members who are like really good at their position, they're way more efficient than we would be and they're way better at it. And like it just helps like the whole like team to just like accomplish like so much more.
Like I will go on lender meetings, I will go on seller meetings all day, but when it comes to like doing those emails and the follow up, I'm like, oh man,
it sucks energy. Yeah,
it's an energy sucker. Yeah.
Same way for me. Like whenever I come in the morning, like I open my inbox, I'm like, dang, there's like 100 emails. I'm like, it's defeating. Like it drains my energy. And so we have an awesome executive assistant now, and she helps like filter so much of that thing. It takes all the mental stress and the weight off. So then now I can just like think clearer and like actually make some decisions on other things or build relationships or film this podcast, whatever the other things that like also needs to get done.
Our team is solid right now. Like very, very happy with our team members and who we've been blessed with.
But then it hasn't, I feel like there's always like rocky moments or bumps and bruises along the way. Has there been any challenging times with our team that you feel like you're like very frustrated or like you're like, why did this happen kind of thing?
I think last year was a tough year for real estate. I was still doing majority acquisitions and, raising money here and there. Mm-hmm. And it was really hard with our leads, with our leads getting new properties under contract. And the thing about acquisitions for you non-investors out there is like acquisitions is a lifeline of the entire company. If you're not getting new projects to flip, to sell, like how are you going to make money? And so I remember struggling there and I'm like, what's wrong with me? Or what do I need to do to fix this? Or how am I going to like get better? Because like I felt like I was feeling every day I wasn't getting something under contract, or every week I felt like I was letting down myself. I was letting down the company, letting you down. And that was a problem. And the way that we fixed it, or not really fixed it, is that, just had to pivot and learn and do things otherwise. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was probably one of the most challenging times. And the few years.
But I mean, it seems like you've blossomed since then, or I mean, through it, right? So like there was like the highs aren't as high if the lows aren't as low. And I think along the journey of entrepreneurship and just like just business, you can't appreciate all the success you've had unless you experience some like the challenges or the lows that you've had as well too.
Absolutely, like no rain, no rainbow, and it's on those the rock bottom points of life or your career where you make the decision like, hey, am I gonna like work through this? Because it's you don't learn or like the most when you're at the top of the mountain, and like you learn and you grow when you're at the bottom, at rock bottom or in those valleys, and then you just learn and climb your way up. Like you can choose to throw yourself a pity party, like, oh, I can't do anything, I'm sucking, or you could stay there, or you can make a decision to climb out and just get better, persevere.
So what does like the day look like for you, or like what does the week look like for you, like as a typical week? Because I know you're busy, like you're doing a lot of different things, you're wearing a lot of different hats. Like what does like a typical week look like for you?
Oh man, so
because like you're involved in our team leadership, right? You're involved in acquisitions, you're involved in fundraising, and then you're involved in also building relationships. And so like you're kind of like you wear a lot of hats. You basically replace like what I was doing before. Like so like you literally did become like Daniel, like version 2.0, like the better version of. So like you're the version of you right now is better than the version of me in 20 when we first started. Like so if you think about like in those terms, like you're a better version of me than when I first was like quote unquote training or teaching you.
Wow, that's mind blowing right now.
But you think about it, like you're doing everything right now. So you're locking up deals, you're raising money, little bit of project management, and then like you're seeing things to escrow, you're building relationships, and like you have some like leadership. So like you're doing all the parts that I was doing, and like but like at a better level than what I was at that point in time.
Wow. My week though, I would say I have about 10 to 15 lender meetings with individuals. I have about 3 to 5 seller appointments a week, and so when I say lender meetings, it's meeting with our fund, Sunset Capital Investments. We work with accredited investors, and it's meeting with these individuals to see if they are accredited, to see if they want to invest money into our offering. So about 10 to 15 of those seller appointments, I'm meeting with these individuals that have properties that they own that they want to sell off market to us, like not on the MLS, but directly from buyer to seller. That's a lot of negotiating, and even to close one seller or one person that wants to invest with us, it can take multiple meetings. Yeah. So probably 10 to 15 lender meetings a week, 3 to 5 seller meetings a week. If anything, a few partner meetings here and there, and of course it's working with different people on our team to see how we're going to strategize, whether it's raising more funds or how we're going to tackle this or escrow. Like even this morning, like had a bunch of stuff from escrow that I got to figure out later today.
What's funny, actually, this morning you sent me a picture of a deal you signed. So we just got a new property on the contract, and you just sent me a little photo of like the guy signing the contract, which is like very cool. And like, it's just like a nonchalant, like, hey, bro, like we just closed another deal. And like, it's no big deal, right? Because you've done so many like over the years. But then like, it's I think like as a new investor, sometimes it can seem like impossible to like find a deal or impossible to raise money. But then like at a certain point, like you get momentum and you have the experience and the resources. And then it's just you're just doing like a whole bunch of it like every single week,
Something that's interesting that I think sometimes is like, I feel like I'm in my zone, and we hardly see each other right now because we're so busy with our responsibilities, and I'm like, I haven't seen him in a while. Does he think I'm doing enough? Because there's days where I'm like, all right, I raised such and such, I closed a deal. Like, what am I doing now? Does he know I'm doing this? Like, let me text him. Is he in the mainland? Hey, I'm still here. So it's funny how things have grown, and like it's great that we have ownership over what we're supposed to be doing, and we know that we're taking care of what we need to for the team. Like, no place I'd rather be.
And it's also I feel like it's a blessing because a lot of times there's just so much work to be done. And like I feel like there's not enough time in the day to finish everything that we want to finish. And there is but then the fact that we have like the opportunities and the work to do, I think is a huge blessing. Versus like when I first started, it was like, what should I do next, right? There's not a whole lot of problems to solve because there's just one problem to solve. Like I just need a deal, right? There's not like 50 problems because we have like so many deals or we need money, etc. But it's just like, when you first started, it's like I just trying to find one deal, and so I just had one problem. So now it's like there's so many deals and money, whatever. It's just, we have like so much problems, which is like kind of like a blessing or in disguise.
I had a heart check the other week at church. So I was sharing like in our men's small group, and I'm like, yeah, guys, like, it's been so busy. I got like all these things going on and trying to figure it out. And then this guy stopped me. He's like, Josh, like, don't you see what the problem is? No, I don't have enough time. He's like, no, I think you're ungrateful. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, my heart check. Like, okay, tell me about it. Like, can you imagine all the people that wish that they were in your position doing something cool like real estate to have like problems to figure out? Like a lot of people like don't know anything about that. And can you imagine all the real estate investors that don't have deals or wish they had a deal? And now you're complaining about too much. And I'm like, ooh, conviction. Thank you. Needed that. But yeah, it's great. I love what we're building. 1,000%.
I mean, it's such a like having like a men's group, first of all, is like really helpful to kind of always have like mirrors in your life and kind of like point you in the right direction. But I think there's so much to be said about just talking and sharing like your life with like the people as you're building. Because I think a lot of times, like when it was just like you're a solopreneur and you don't have like other people that you're working alongside, it can get very lonely. But the fact that we can have like other people we're doing alongside with, I think it makes it more fun. And then a lot of the burdens that we struggle with, we don't have to like carry them alone. Because like if you have to like carry all the weight of like the entire company or like all the burdens yourself, it can be very taxing. But now that we have like team members, like they can help either with actual work itself, or when you share, you're kind of like sharing the load of like the responsibility or like the mental weight, if that makes sense. And at the same time, whenever like, we have a win, it's like you're not celebrating by yourself. You're like, hey guys, like we just closed this deal or we just made this amount of money. Like it's like a team win as opposed to just like by yourself,
And even the whole team thing, like I absolutely agree with you. And another thing, if there was $1 million right here, I would not take it to do my own thing, because it's more fun when you do things with the team and people that you like. I mean, we took our team to WealthCon last year, and like how many people can say they took their team to WealthCon? And, like even on Mondays, we have a book club where, we read a chapter of a book and we discuss it. And, we're not just doing, work together, we're doing life. Like we care about each other's lives. We're trying to like, encourage and, give advice on different things. So it's not like a, hey, clock in, clock out kind of thing, but, it's a really great environment.
That's a really good point now that you say that. And I didn't realize it till now or kind of put together. But I think like if somebody gave me like, you could have $1 million, but then you're going to work by yourself, or you can make, let's say like 300,000, but you'll be a part of a team. I think I would take the 300,000 and be part of a team, just because life is not just about money. As long as you have enough to feed yourself, I think there's like a bare minimum, right? If you're making like nothing, okay, like you got to survive. But then like the life is also about like the experience and having like the making memories with like other people. And besides just like and the whole purpose of money is for like security and memories and like just like enjoying it, It's not just about like a number in your bank account.
Yeah, I mean, if you have all the money in the world, we die. Like you can't take that to heaven, right? Yeah. So it's better to just share it and make experiences right now. Our team is great, man.
Yeah. We're actually gonna go to WealthCon, I think, in a couple of weeks.
2 weeks.
Like, we're excited for that. I think like when you think about like your life in general, there's things where I think they call it core memories, or like those are things that like kind of stick out to you and just stand out to you, like just over like other things. And I think one of my core memories is going to WealthCon with, I don't know if it was WealthCon or just Vegas with you, and then we went to eat at Smith & Wollensky's, like the steakhouse randomly. But like that's like going there for the first time. I still remember that. That's one of like my core memories.
Yeah, that was like WealthCon, maybe like April 2024, okay. I think. Yeah.
Was it? No, that it was before that, I think.
2023. That's right, 2023.
Was it WealthCon or was it?
The WealthCon 2023 when they did it quarterly. Yeah.
I think that's one of the things about going to like conferences is there's like that spirit of like camaraderie, or like you're a part of a bigger like organization or environment, or you're around like that energy, which is like part of like why like having a team is really cool, is because you're just part of like energy, as opposed to like when you're yourself, you have to like generate your own energy and then you have to maintain your own energy, as opposed to like when you're a team, you kind of like get to feed off some of the energy of the other guys, and it's like a cycle of like hot coals burning together.
Right, and for you guys that don't know what WealthCon is, it's a real estate conference. Now it's only once a year. It used to be a quarterly by Ryan Panetta. And I remember the last night we were hungry after WealthCon, and we were like, oh, what's still open? So we were on Yelp, like let's do steak. We got to do steak. And Smith and was it Wesson's?
Smith and
Wesky's. It was in the Venetian Hotel, and we got there like one of the last sittings.
It was like 11 p.m. or something.
It was super late, and the first thing they brought up like this bread, and I'm like, oh, it's the best bread ever. And table next to us, they got this tomahawk steak that like was being hung. And like I remember that meal. It was like one of the best meals of my life. Incredible.
The steak is really, really good.
So good. I can't wait to go there again.
It's a must every time we go there now. So for WealthCon.
Oh yeah.
So kind of looking forward, like maybe into the future, what are like your thoughts on maybe like on the real estate in general, and like kind of like what are like the goals do you think for the team or the company? Like what do you see in the future?
Yeah, I give applause to everyone that's making it through this market right now. And we have wins, and our team is still learning a lot through some of the losses and things going on. But for the future, I think we have a bright future ahead of us, and what we're building and what we're doing would be great if we could retire everyone on our team someday. And then also from real estate, like.
Well, I mean, like, so I think what I saw at the time is like, I would like to have enough like capital to retire.
Yes.
But then like, I feel like even if I did that, I wouldn't want to actually like retire. I mean, just your thoughts. Like, what's your thoughts on like, let's say someone gave you like $1 billion, right? Like literally like you have more money than you know what to do with. What would you do with your life at that point in time?
Oh,
would you just like retire and sit on the beach?
No, I would find ways to invest that money or like build infrastructure. I would donate a lot to like things that matter. Like I know our church is having a build out, so I'd probably get them, pay for the build out. Just help the road in different areas. Make sure that my loved one and friends are taken care of. But yeah, just use that money and give back as much as I can. Of course, make sure my family is fine, and then. Want to make sure that I teach my daughter about real estate and make sure that she has a skill that she can use, or other family members or friends. And I could probably do more coaching, like if that ever happens. But yeah, I think that'd be it. Just making sure my loved ones and friends are set up and, can give back to the community in different ways.
I think that's one of the things about like capital or making money is a big part of it is security for our loved ones. I think a lot of times when we're building this wealth, we want to make sure that the people who we care about are taken care of. And I think that's like a big part of like us for our team, but anybody in general. Like, so like a big driver of like why you want to be successful or actually like making a business is because you want to be able to take care of the people who matter most to you.
Absolutely.
It's funny, like over like, I mean, when I first started, it was just like, I just want to be rich. I just want to make money, right? It's like very, very selfish. But I think, I'm still selfish to this day. But I think over the time, it's like after you have so enough, then like now you look into outwards. Okay, I have enough for myself. What can I do for like the people around me, or what can I build for either my community or for our team and things? And so like, I think it's very, very possible for our team to, and I think in the next, let's say 5 years, for like our team to be comfortably retired. And like I think like that's one of like your goals and one of my goals. And I think it'll be like really cool like that day when we look back on it and like, wow, we put in all this work and it was like worth it for this end result,
Because guys like you and me, I don't think we could ever fully retire. Like we could have more time to go on trips or go to things, but like our minds are going to be moving. Like
it's too much fun. Like building and solving problems is just fun, I think. And I think if we were to have like a certain level of success that we think, and we were to retire, we just want bigger problems.
Yeah,
right? Like
absolutely.
You just want to get a bigger problem. So like I'll probably take everything I have and like throw it into like a new business and just I solve a bigger problem. Right? It's just like, where can I find the biggest problem that's going to give me like the biggest return? Like, I mean, it can't just be a problem for like nothing, right? It can't be like I just want a problem for the problem's sake, although maybe that I would. But like I just want a big problem to solve that's going to be meaningful and impactful.
That's great. Even for me, like, hey, I'm going to go to Disneyland, all the Disneylands, sporting events, and then like, all right, what do I do now? Like, what can I do? Like, I need something to, fill that need, Just can't be, like I can't be sipping on a Mai Tai or pina colada on the beach, like 24/7. A few days here and there. Yeah, definitely. But I need, like God gave us sharp brains. So, got to steward it and still use it while we still can.
100%. So I mean, kind of like maybe like after your few years of like massive growth and success as an investor, I think a lot of people look up to you nowadays, and they're like,
No, yeah.
"Oh, Josh." I mean, like, no, it's like, and then I hear it all the time, like, "Wow, like Josh, like he's so good." I mean, people who don't know me or they know of you because you had like a lot of success, raising money, finding deals, managing products, all these different things. What do you think is like the most important piece of getting to the place of like success or like skill that you like that you are right now? Like what's like the key to getting to where you are?
I think it's, people are going to say take action, but it's making sure that you're surrounded with the right people. It's getting the right information. It's learning how to analyze deals. Mm-hmm. So, like people don't want to invest money into themselves with coaching or studying or podcast or different programs. But I think that's where you start. Like you have to invest money into yourself for you to grow. Because like, let's say you don't want to spend $20,000 into a coaching program where you learn how to, fix your flip or do something. And then you decide to do things on your own. And the mistake that you would have learned about in that coaching program now cost you $50,000. So it's getting the right information. It's learning what to do with it, to take action and not be, have analysis paralysis. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the big thing. And then surrounding yourself with, people that will help you grow.
Was there like a big like mentor like in your life that on the real estate side that made a big impact? I mean, not from our team, but maybe like just like outside that you felt like was a real big impact on your journey?
I think there's a few, but more so just learning and watching what they're doing, even if it's conversations or how they like, how'd you get so many hot projects? Like, how'd you raise this kind of money? And just having them speak into my life, and I'm like, hey, this is where I'm struggling here. And the really good thing about our like investor circle here in Hawaii, it's not about competition, it's about collaboration. Yeah, like we're people that come into with a mindset like, I'm not gonna share anything. Like they have a limited mindset, and like that's not what it's about. Like you need to have an abundant mindset to be successful, especially here in Hawaii, because there's even for you, if you have no deals, like there's so many deals to go around. Like one deal can change your life, and to be like so selfish to think that you don't want to share anything because you don't want to give someone an upper edge is crazy. So that collaboration to just get ahead, whether it's someone doing better than you or someone that's back of you, like you can learn something from everyone.
What do you say to like, let's say someone who's like, I don't want to share because I don't want them to like steal my deal or learn my tactics or get a competitive advantage over me? What would you say to someone like that?
I think it's all like, like a discernment too about who you're talking to and like your trust level with different people. Like, yeah, like, if you have a seller lead and you want to talk to, then you can be a little more discreet on the information you give. But, like I'm an open book for the most times. Like, there's things that I won't share with other people. But, right now, a lot of people are asking me for like coaching calls or to get together, something like that. And yeah, we do that. But it's like, I'm not sharing everything that we have. I'm asking them about what their problems are. And then, like what I did and, just giving them advice from there.
A lot of times too, like when you give people advice, you can't give advice from like where you are now. You have to give advice for like where the person is at currently, because the same advice that I would give myself like back then wouldn't be the same advice I give myself now, because you're in a different spot. You have different resources, you have different goals, and you have different like risk tolerances. And so depending on where you are, like your advice for that person is going to be like very, very different.
That's a great point. I never thought of that till now. Yeah, that's great. I'm going to take that with me.
One of the things I think also I've seen you growing is like your leadership skills. I think a lot of times as small business owners, like there is a lot of people that's involved like in these things, but like in your ability to talk with lenders, with sellers, with team members, how have you gotten so good, I feel like, in your confidence and your ability to like just talk with people? I
think it's being genuine and, like treating them as a person to start. Like people will tell if you only want something from them. But just coming across like, hey, this is who I am, or how can I help you? Like any questions, give me a call. With our escrow officers, like Pam Sato, Kalena, it's, hey, give them a call. Like, hey, I need help. Or, just, I don't know everything. Like, this is what's happening. How can you help me? And it's being real with people. Like, you don't have to know everything. Like you connect with your weaknesses, you lead with your strengths, and just be who you are. Like, people will sniff things out really easily. And about relationships too. Like you show people you care. Like now I have so many different people that are giving us referrals for leads. And
when you say show people you care, like what does that look like practically? Like what are like the actual concrete steps to do that?
I ask people hey, how are you doing? Like how are you really doing? Or how's business? And then, just taking it a little deeper in that conversation, not being like, oh, it's good. Like, no, like, how are you doing, man? Like anything it could help you out with. So like just digging in, just poking like, hey, like I know who you are. Or just, if you don't feel like talking, like, hey, I'm if you need anything, you need prayer, give me a call. You have no idea how many like text messages or conversations, like something like that sprouted. Like, hey Josh, like remember you said I could call you or I could text you, you could pray for me or just talk through things. Like that opened the door for a lot of things. And, like a lot of, people out there like, yeah, I'll pray for you. But how many people actually pray for you, right? Like, but, I take those things to heart because it's what people did for me growing up and, like what really had an impact on my life. Yeah. And I don't say that, just for fun or like a, like a little cherry on top saying someone goodbye, but I really do mean it. And like people see that and it's like, yeah, hey, this guy's cool. Like, I feel like he's genuine. He has a real heart. Like, let's work with that guy, or let's send my friends that want to invest to him, or let's, this guy wants to sell his property. Let's send him to him because, like, of the relationships.
A lot of these times, I feel like it's so easy to like do like some simple things that go a long way. One of the things that happened to me recently was so Ryan Panetta, he's one of our coaches. But he like randomly just texted me, hey bro, like my morning devotions, I'm praying, and like he came up in my prayers, so I'm praying for you. So just getting like random texts like that, I was like, wow, that's like really powerful just to like pray for people. And so I know God wants us to pray for other people, and so like in my morning devotions, I'm trying to like often like just pick somebody to like that God puts on my heart to pray for. And then in the past, I would just like pray for that person and then that's it. But then now I'm like actually texting them like, hey, like just thinking about you and praying for you. And then a lot of people like respond like, wow, like thank you so much. And it's just like a small act of like just a touch. But like it's not super. I'm like, hey, I prayed for you for like 30 seconds. Like it's not like a whole lot, right? But like it's like meaningful for the person because like you're actually okay. Like I'm actually praying for you. I'm like this like this. I'm thinking about you. I actually care about you. I think just like there's a lot of small touches you can give to people, where it's like it's not super like a lot of effort, like, but like it goes a long way as far as like the person being able to receive it.
Wow, that's incredible. All right, I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna steal it for sure.
But okay, so maybe just kind of going back to just like the success you've had over the last few years and how far you've grown. Maybe like a brand new investors who kind of either breaking into like maybe the business or into real estate investing. What's one piece of advice you would give them?
Educate yourself. The market's rough right now, so just read. Just don't be pressured into buying a bad deal. I think that's the first thing.
That's a really good one. Can you dive into that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I've known, people want to get their feet wet. Like, oh, I want to get my first deal, whether it's a, like a rental or a BRRRR or the first fix and flip, But that one deal, it could, if it goes bad because you don't know what you're doing or you don't know how to analyze numbers correctly, like that could cost you your life savings, like your, like a lot of money, and you'll be in a down spot rather than, taking the time. So just because you see other people doing it on social media, like don't feel pressured. Like social media, most people only post the real good stuff, like the highlights, but they don't understand like all the, oh man, like even if we sell the house at this price, we're still going to lose $75,000. Like they don't see all, all that. They don't know all that stuff. Yeah, so don't rush into it. Take your time, learn. Of course, take action, but yeah, don't buy a bad deal right now in this market.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for having me, for jumping on our show, bro. Like you've been a true brother.